Good afternoon, ladies and germs. Today I'm here with my brand new CyberPower Tracer 3 17-inch i7 blah 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 laptop. And here's my 5-year-old, going on 6 years old, FangBook, CyberPower FangBook 2. And I just have them side by side for comparison. This thing, obviously, I got my 5 years out of it. I think it came with a SATA hard drive. I put an M.2 for extra storage in it. This thing has been a trooper. If not for some of the things where this really improved, I could easily get by with this computer for conceivably for a few more years. This laptop is still, it's a 5-year-old laptop. It's an i7, it's like a 4th gen i7. It's got an old, Nvidia GTX, a 960M or something like that. And I can tell you that I would say that this laptop is still faster than about 99% rolling off the showroom floor today. I mean, I deploy laptops to customers all the time. And granted, they're not gaming laptops in most cases, but even the modern day solid state, blah, 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 everything. This machine is faster than them in every respect of the word. Its one weak point was that it was a battery hog right from day one. I never really got more than maybe 90 minutes on a good day of battery life out of it, if you were really using it. Now, granted, this thing was from 2013. The other thing about it is that it's super heavy. It's big. It's a big, heavy laptop, and it did not have a TPM, so that was a real killer because in order to encrypt it, I ended up having to enter the extra password if you know how BitLocker works, and that's a pain in the ass. But aside from that, this thing was a trooper. It was a great, great machine, and I'm going to hold on to it. I mean, it's a great spare laptop just in case. But here we have the brandy new Tracer 3 17-inch, and I'll tell you, like, you look at them side by side. Here's a 15.6 and here's a 17.3. It's under 2 inches of difference, and it doesn't sound like a big deal, but man, this thing, just that extra, inch and a half or whatever of screen space, it makes all the difference in the world. When I am using this machine, I feel like I'm on a desktop, like a desktop with kind of a small monitor, whereas on this thing, it still feels like a laptop, like I'm kind of squinting and struggling to see. Whereas this thing just feels like it's like a portable desktop. Now, some of the advancements that came over the course of the last 5 years is, as you can see, that here's the old one, and you can see it is heavy. I mean, this thing must be like 7 pounds, but it has a solid feel to it. And here's the new one, the 17, and this is half the weight. I mean, it's a bigger monitor, and it's half the weight of this thing. But you can also see side by side, maybe you can't, so let me stack them and I'll kind of show you that, the one on the top is the new one, and you can see even though it's a bigger machine with bigger and better everything, it's much thinner and it's much lighter weight. So that's a big plus. I like both of the cases on there. They're all just MSI laptops, but CyberPower customizes them with their logo and stuff. Actually, I think these are both pretty tasteful. So I like them. They have a little bit of a custom look. They don't look like everything else. You can see how fast that thing, that just from out of sleep. I mean, literally as soon as you get the monitor up, you're ready to go. This thing, I will say this is one minor gripe for me, was that, when you put these things in a bag, if you put them to sleep and you put them in a bag, they get jostled around and they inevitably wake up while they're in your laptop bag, which is not good because they can overheat that way. So on this one, you could go into Device Manager and go into the keyboard and uncheck the box that says, don't power this on, don't allow the keyboard to power this on. So I had it set up that way. It's actually, the reason why it woke up is because I have it set up that when you open the, when you open the screen, it comes to life. But the keyboard would not wake it up. On this thing, for whatever reason, the driver doesn't have the power management option, so I can't say, hey, keyboard, don't wake this machine up. So I end up having to hibernate it instead of like on this one where I can just normally put it to sleep. It wakes up a hell of a lot faster because hibernate actually takes everything you had on the desktop and saves it to the hard drive. And then that way when you wake it up, you still get back, but you have to wait for hibernate. So you can see, even though this is a much, much faster machine, the new one, waiting for hibernate to wake up is going to take a while. We might as well just keep talking in the meantime, and then you can see whenever it comes back on. So there we go. Now you can see it's just starting to wake up here, and whereas this one was literally instantaneous. Like as soon as I'd swung open the door, I'm ready to go. This one it's going to be a little while. See if we get there. And I probably did some Windows updates. So anyway, look. So you see what I'm getting at. So that's one minor gripe I have with this thing. Another thing that I love about the CyberPower laptop, so I had bought this year, I had bought a really expensive HP, nice business, Business Pro, whatever. It was a really nicely spec'd out laptop. But one of the things that I don't like about the HPs is that when it comes to lighting up the keyboard, you don't have a choice with that. There's no button to toggle the keyboard backlight on or off. It's just on a timer. It's either 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 15 seconds or always on, or like 1 minute or always on. And if you leave it always on, it can, it kills the battery like 16 times or 16% faster or something like that. Anyway, I love that with the CyberPowers, and the reason this isn't lit up, it's not plugged in. Let me plug it in, and then we can talk a little bit more about that. All right, here we go. All right, so now you can see how the keyboard came to life, and the backlights on these keyboards, I know you probably can't tell in this video, but the backlight for this keyboard is freaking awesome. I mean, you can light up a room with it. I mean, you can see the keys really clearly. It was good in this one, but as you can see, these are black keys, and these are kind of have like a transparent. That's another thing about this. The Tracer 3, the new laptop, the keyboard is almost like a full size. Like whereas this is a laptop keyboard that kind of constricts your fingers, and it's a little bit hard. I have big hands, so it's a little bit hard for me to type on laptop keyboards. This thing, and it's one of the reasons I bought it, is because not only do we get the bigger screen, but the keyboard is like a full size keyboard. It's awesome. And as you can see, maybe you can't see it, but the keys are raised up a couple of millimeters, and actually the backlight around the keys, that's why you can just see them so much better. So anyway, I love that. It's thinner, it's lighter, it has a bigger screen, it has a better keyboard, and I put a 1 terabyte 970 EVO Plus, I think they are now, or 980, whatever the newest EVO Plus is in here. So I can put Samsung Magician and optimize it and all that stuff. And I don't have to worry about storage space, whereas with this one I had to add, because solid states were a lot more expensive in 2013 when I spec'd this one out. What else? But the biggest thing, and it's such a nice thing, and I really want to emphasize this for those of us that want to encrypt our devices, this thing did not have a TPM. The old one did not have a TPM, so I have to add that second password when I boot up. It's a pain in the ass. This one has a TPM, and they don't advertise that on the site. There's nowhere in the specs of this machine that said it had a TPM. It was actually a pleasant surprise. I wasn't expecting it to have one. So when I went and encrypted it, I didn't have to add the second password. It just works like any other business laptop would work. And the problem is, and the reason why I didn't get a business laptop and I went back to CyberPower is because, frankly, if you want what I get for specs in this machine with the 17-inch monitor, with the terabyte NVMe hard drive, with the backlit keyboard, if I try to get that, if I spec out a Lenovo or an HP with those specs, I'm looking at a $3,300 machine, at least, with the graphics card. And in this thing, I caught a sale at CyberPower, and I was out the door for like $1,300 on this machine. Unbelievable. You just can't get a better deal. Terabyte NVMe, solid state, 16 gigs. I had 16 gigs of GSKILL RAM in there. It's an i7. I forget what, but it doesn't matter. It's an i7. Who cares? And it's got a 1050 Ti, I want to say, or it's 1060 Ti. Whatever. It's one of those. Not that it matters. I don't even game on it anyway. So the graphics card was just for video editing. This is my fallback machine if my main machine ever goes down, which, happens from time to time. So anyway, what are some of the other awesome things about this machine? Oh yeah, this is a wicked awesome thing. So let me show you this. So this was a new thing to me. I'd never seen this before. So here's the touchpad, okay? And what happens, people like to disable the touchpad. Some people hate the touchpad. Some people like it. Some people like me. Sometimes I want to use it and sometimes I don't. And when I don't want to use it, I don't feel like going into the BIOS to disable it or even having to go into the Synaptics, applet and control panel to disable it. So they did something so cool with this. It's one of the coolest features I've seen. So I know you can't see it, but right in the corner there's a little tiny LED. And if you double tap in the corner, I don't know if you have to be logged in to do it. Yep, there you go. Now you can see maybe that a little green light just came on in the corner. And what that means is that the touchpad is now disabled. So if I'm in the middle of typing and I hook up a mouse and I'm ready to go, I don't, I can just double tap that little corner there. Let's see if I can shut it off. There we go. And I just shut it off. So now the touchpad is active again. That is an awesome feature. And especially, I do have some clients that I roll this out with, and when I show them that, they're so happy because, sometimes I want to use the mouse and sometimes I want to use the touchpad. But like I said, I don't like having to go into the BIOS to disable the damn touchpad, which is, has been a common thing back in the day. So awesome feature there. So what did I say? I mean, the price is not even competitive. If you want to buy a Lenovo or a Dell or an HP that has the specs that this thing has, you are in the $3,000 ballpark. I was out the door with this thing. It was on a sale, but I was out the door with this thing for like $1,300 and change. I think it was like $1,350 or $1,395. Great keyboard, 17-inch monitor. 1 terabyte NVMe. I'm never going to have to worry about storage on this thing, and I got plenty to play with if I end up having to do video editing on it or photo editing or anything like that. It's fairly lightweight. I've been able to squeeze a couple hours of battery life out of it, like going full blast at client offices where I needed to unhook it. It's safe to say I think you can get 2.5. I think maybe you might be able to squeeze a full 4 hours out of the battery life if you were going full blast the whole time. And I mean, you'd be down to like 1%. You'd probably kill it. You might be able to squeeze 4 hours, but I would say you can comfortably squeeze 2.5, 3 hours. And I mean, all you have to do is just at some point, just get that plug in there for a few minutes and just get it back, get it back to life a little bit. What else about it? The TPM, I can't even tell you how happy that made me. And whatever, 16 gigs of RAM, it's fine. I'm never going to have to worry about RAM with this thing. Like I said, it's mostly a backup machine and it's mostly a machine that I use when I'm at my clients. But when I'm at a client and I need to do some work, especially if I'm remoting into somebody else's machine or if I'm on servers or if I'm doing multiple things where I'm remoted into servers and I'm remoted into other people's environment and I'm trying to document some network changes I'm making on a network that I'm at, it's really nice to have the 17-inch screen. It's really nice to have the full-size keyboard. A lot of times I'm working in dark rooms, in closets, and in basements. IT guys will be familiar with that. So it's nice to have that super backlit keyboard that you can always see, or it's nice at night as well. I really can't say enough good things about it. CyberPower has done right by me. I have bought a lot of CyberPower machines for myself, and I've bought a lot of them for clients. And, I have had an occasional problem here and there. But I will say for the most part, you get a really good value for your buck with them. They're pretty good, when you call them or whatever. Linus Tech Tips did a video where he called a bunch of custom gaming companies and he, asked them for help, because he wanted to see if they try to rip him off, or he had one of his office employees do it. And when they called CyberPower, they didn't try to help him. They didn't try to talk him into a machine. They basically said, hey, if you don't know what you want, go somewhere else. We're not here to recommend machines. If you know what you want, come to us and we'll build it for you. And he got all in a hissy fit about it. He was like crying about it and basically badmouthed CyberPower over it. See, I think that's awesome. Because basically they're the vendor that's saying, if you're a guy that knows what you want, you come to us and we'll build it for you. No nonsense, no hassle, and we'll do it at a good price. And I guess what Linus was trying to get was like, okay, I'm a 70 IQ person that's going to go spend $3,000 on a laptop. What are you going to sell me? And that's what he was expecting him to walk somebody that knows nothing through the process. These aren't machines for that kind of people. These are enthusiast machines for people that know what they want. And their website is easy to use. I mean, you just go through, you customize, bing, bang, boom. I can build a machine there in 5 seconds and have it out and have it to a client in under a week in most cases. And that's awesome for me. So I wish I could resell for them. I don't make a dime. CyberPower doesn't pay me. I'm just going to say this, I wish I could resell their machines because I wish I could make some money because I've sold so many machines for this company, probably over the course of the last 5 years, probably 20 or 30 machines. So anyway, that being said, I like CyberPower. I like this machine. I'm very confident I'll get 5 years out of this machine, no problem. And I still have a 5-year-old machine that's a pretty damn solid machine. It's like my backup machine, and I do some of my own personal stuff on it. I have it downstairs next to my guitars, and I go on guitar tricks and take lessons and stuff like that. But still, so Anyway, I'm going a little bit long here, but I just wanted to kind of give everybody, if you have questions about the Tracer 3 or CyberPower machines in general, feel free to drop them in the comments. I do my best to answer questions when I can. It gets a little overwhelming sometimes, but if you have questions, you can also email me too. You can find my my contact information easy enough. So anyway, hope you liked the video. Let me know what you think, and have a good 2020.